here with us, and I would like to tell you a little bit about him for those who are joining us for the first time. Commander Girish Konkar, he has served in the Indian Navy for over 22 years. He has commanded he was a submariner for over 17 years in operations, and he has commanded the submarine Shankush. Post his retirement in 2004, he became a leadership and transformation catalyst, which means he's worked with Fortune 500 companies with their C-suite people, CEOs, CXOs, and the senior management and the middle management to help them transform themselves from within. Today's session is about a very interesting topic. So I would like to ask Sir. Sir, welcome to your own YouTube channel.
Thank you very much. Thank you everybody for joining in, and look forward to a very interesting discussion.
Today's topic is very interesting. I want to know the topic is Mahabharat. And the first question, are you interested in history? Did you read the Mahabharat or you watched it on TV like us?
So I think like everybody else, yes, am I interested in history? The answer is yes. Was I interested always? The answer is no. But I've been into trekking a lot. And when we go to trekking, you go to all the forts of Maharashtra, Shivaji's forts, etc. We always are intrigued by many things. So there is always something is fantastic in this thing. And now, so history became a bit more intrigued with the history. We always heard of Mahabharat and Ramayana as epics, as mythology. The interesting stories. We see it on movies and TVs. All that is somewhere in the background. I was it is such a vast literature. It's my head. The story is so fantastic, but everybody says you must read the Gita, and the Gita says this. I could never understand the Gita.
Correct.
Same way Mahabharata, the story is fantastic. But what can you learn from the Mahabharata? That's a very recent, I would say, conversion into that sort of thought process.
So my first question is going to be, this is something I'm really intrigued to know. Is it history? Is the Mahabharata the history? Or is it just an epic literature?
I would say both. In the sense, there is enough indications to show that it is a historical document. But it is said it is a part of our itihas. That means thus it happened. This is how the whole thing unfolded. And there are two epic poems, you can call them large volumes of literature, which form the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. Both, I would say, probably have happened. May not be exactly the way it is narrated in that, because they are very complex stories. But there are enough indications which come to say yes, something has happened. It was there. And now, especially in the last couple of years, there are fantastic, I would say they are able to date both Ramayana and the Mahabharata to say that yes, it happened. And if anybody is interested, can go in and look up people like Dr. Nilesh Oak. I would quote also Rupa Bhati, another one, there is Jatna Devam. So there are so many researchers who come up now, and you can YouTube all these names. And it's intriguing. कुछ तो हुआ है, लगता है हो गया है. So at least at that point you should be open to.
So what is the date when the Mahabharata actually?
So again I quote Dr. Nilesh Oak over here. He is the one who's given the date as 5561 BCE.
Okay.
That means Mahabharata actually happened about 7,500 years ago. And when you listen to him, I'm convinced. Of course, there are many critics saying, no, this didn't happen, that happened. I'm not a authoritative in that sense. So I'm going by whatever Dr. Nilesh spoke and some of those people have said. To me, it makes sense. And I think this is to open it. Okay, this happened so many years ago. That's what it means.
So, what I want to know is why is it relevant even today? I mean, even today, Mahabharata is so relevant. There are some lessons, like you mentioned, like the Bhagavad Gita. People say you read this, you read that, and you will find the solution. So, why is it relevant even today?
So, okay, versus our Sanatan literature, Sanatan Granthas, they are vast. Everything starts off with the Vedas. So quickly to summarize it very fast, there are 4 Vedas. I'm sure all of us, the viewers probably know it. There's Rigved, Yajurved, Samaved and Atharvaved. That's the start point, but doesn't end there. Vedas is just a start point. Then you are supported by things like Samhitas, there is Brahmanas, there is Aranyakas, Upanishads, Vedangas, Puranas, Agamas. This is a vast literature which supports the Vedas. So Veda is just a start point. You have all of these will cover right from philosophy to applied sciences, knowledge, there is governance, there is economics, there is warfare, there is psychology, there is ethics, strategy, music, arts, philosophy, dance. You name it, it is there recorded in all these multiple documents that are there. So it is huge knowledge. One element of that is the Ramayana and the Mahabharata.
Okay.
So after all these, then come the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. Right?
Okay.
So which means, and Mahabharata is among the biggest literature or grantha of its kind anywhere in the entire world.
Yes. I think it's the longest also. Longest.
Yes, it's the largest, longest. So just to give you, it is 100,000, 1 lakh shloks or verses.
Okay.
That's the size. In 18 parva. Okay, there's chapters, you can say books.
Okay.
It covers things like right from the origins, then goes to lineage, and the war, the aftermath of the war, then the spiritual closure. There's so many things are covered in that one. Okay, just to give you this, what you see here is the Mahabharata edition, which is called as a critical edition of the Mahabharata, the English version by Vivek Debroy. This is one. There are 10 of these.
Oh my God.
So it's so massive. And it is so massive that if you compare it with any of the literature that is there, like the Mahabharata is 2.5 times the size of the Bible.
Okay.
If you look at the Greek literature or even Islamic literature like Quran, it is 23 times larger than the Quran. It is 26 times larger than the Greek mythology or the document called the Iliad. So it's massive.
Right.
It is not a small document. It is really a massive document.
Okay. But it has also survived so many generations that we've been told about it.
Yes.
So what are we going to learn today?
So when I started reading it, of course, like everybody, really first as a child must have read Chandamama comics and the Mahabharata television. That is the one way most of us got introduced to Mahabharata in depth. You realize this massive volumes that are there. It's twists and turns. There is at every turn there are new characters. All of them are massive characters, big characters, and it's not a linear story.
Right.
It is a story of twists and turns, and every time there is. I don't know. You seen the movie Dhurandhar?
No, not yet. Sir.
Okay, you've not seen Dhurandhar.
No.
I think then, okay, if you have seen Dhurandhar, it's 3 hours 40 minutes long, a movie. How many movies do you get of that length? Very few.
Very few.
And this is one of those rare movies of that one.
Yeah.
People will forget that mobile phones in that 3 or 40 minutes. You might like it, I mean, you like it only. You might later on say, yeah, ye bahut jada tha, ye kam tha, all that will happen. But people, even after some 5 weeks, it is still going houseful in theaters. It is massive. That is like a Mahabharata. Twist and turns, and never you all on the edge of the seat going on. There are no perfect heroes. Everybody at some time or the other has dark characters in them. Everyone makes mistakes. All the characters will take. Everyone faces dilemmas. Everyone has to bear the consequences of the choices that each one makes. You know, when you start reading all this, try to make sense of it. Let's be leadership failure very rarely happens due to lack of any skill.
Right.
Any leadership failure that you will see happens purely either because of poor judgment, weak ethics, emotional reactions. That means you must be emotional intelligence. Leadership is not. But here you find sometimes you react emotionally, you get different consequences. And it's misaligned with your values and actions. So how do you make sense of such a massive thing? So I spent a lot of time thinking, oh, it's fine. This is very fine that it's a massive literature, lots of lessons. What can I learn from it?
Correct.
Nobody can read 100,000 verses and try to. So I tried to distill it into something that is simple, that is very easy to understand, and which anyone can follow it.
Correct.
That's what my
So basically, you are taking the Mahabharata and you are splitting it with leadership lessons, things that we can learn from it from a leadership perspective, from an emotional intelligence perspective.
Absolutely.
Very exciting.
Absolutely.
So, what were the major characters? You mentioned that everyone has, if I can say, great characters. Not all of the time everyone's right or everyone's wrong. So, what about these characters? Who are the characters of?
Okay, so characters I would suppose everybody who's watching this
Right.
knows about Mahabharat. So,
We know the
Mahabharat is one thing where your leadership is truly tested of every character. Every character has something that is there. See, leadership looks very easy when corporate targets are met, when markets are stable. You don't need leadership. Life just happens. But it's really get tested when you get into tough situations. That's the time when your character literally gets tested. And character doesn't get built in one day. It gets overbuilt over time. And when the tough situation comes, the situation will reveal your character.
Right.
So character gets revealed when pressures are high, resources are limited, ethics are inconvenient to follow, and decisions have long-term impact. So all this is, and you find all the major characters that are there in the Mahabharata. Right from in the Pandavas, you have Yudhishthir, you have Arjun, you have Bhim, you have Nakul, Sahadev, Draupadi, Kunti, Abhimanyu, and so many others. On the Kaurav side, you have Dhritarashtra, you have Bhishma, you have Duryodhan, Dushasan, there is Shakuni, Vidur, Dronacharya, Karna, Gandhari, Kripacharya, Ashwatthama. There are so many characters and everybody occupies a lot of space in the entire Mahabharata. And of course, not to forget, the central figure is Krishna. So Krishna is a very beautiful character,
Right.
who is seen from both sides. We'll maybe discuss it a little later.
Right. So, how have you taken this characters and made them easy for us to understand from a leadership or a narrative perspective? What is the story behind this?
Okay. So like I said, it's very difficult to distill Mahabharata and try to figure out each character. And I said, this is making no sense.
Right.
What can I learn from each character? Can I make it simplistic that we all can follow? And what I think is one fundamental framework which probably Vyasadev, Vyas used to write the entire narrative of how it happened is that everything, there are 5 things that determine every character's role.
Okay.
It starts off with what is your purpose, and we'll discuss this afterwards. What is your value system that you hold to? Because these two are what makes things transformational.
Right.
And because based on these, you make choices,
Correct.
which becomes your decisions.
Right.
And these decisions you act upon.
Correct.
And when you act upon any choice that you take, you will get consequences.
Correct.
Now, this is just transactional. That means if you take a decision based on something which is there, that's transactional. If it is based on your purpose and values, then that becomes transformational. You can take tougher decisions, higher decisions, if it is based on purpose and values.
Interesting.
Because then, when outcomes fail, that's when you get tested due to a wrong decision. And when you go backwards in the chain, you will find it all starts off with your what is your very purpose of you think your life is.
Right.
What are the value system that you hold dear in your life? And this applies to students, this applies to professionals, this applies to homemakers, each and every one. It applies at leaders, human beings at every level. It is so fundamental a framework for everyone to be taught.
This is very interesting, and I can only imagine someone like you who can come up with this.
Thank you very much.
So, sir, now you've spoken about leadership through choices, and there are choices that we can take which can be either transactional or it can be transformational. I would like to know a little bit more. I'm sure everyone who's watching this live also is interested in this question.
So this entire Mahabharata, all the characters, everybody, it revolves around this various situations that keep following as the narrative proceeds. Right?
Right.
And in every situation, every character makes some choices.
Right.
And based on those choices that the character takes, he takes actions, he or she takes actions, And then there are consequences we face by that particular character and the entire. Like I said, the same principle is applied even today. And like it's not possible in the time that we have to study every character, but let us study some of the major characters that are there. And one of the most senior, most respected characters we can think about is Bhishma.
Right.
Now, Bhishma, by absolutely, if you look at his moral authority of Bhishma was immense.
Right.
Nobody comes anywhere close to him. He was so powerful a figure in the entire story of Mahabharat. There are two prominent traits that Bhishma displays in the entire narrative. One is his commitment. It's called as Bhishma Pratigya.
Correct.
एक बार बोल दिया मतलब बोल दिया. तो मैं अपने आप की मैंने सुनता हूँ. That Salman Khan का dialogue. That is Bhishma. Okay. Once Bhishma says something, it is Patthar ki lakir. And he maintains that throughout the entire story. And he's right from the beginning known as Devrat. I mean, he starts off in the beginning till he's on the felled in the war on the 10th day and till he dies later on also. He's one of the biggest, largest characters that is there. So, first is commitment. Second was his absolute loyalty. It was not just loyalty, it was absolute loyalty to the throne of the Star. So, these two character traits, leadership traits, define Bhishma. So, all of you might remember that when, as Devrat, he took on the thing about Ambalika, Amba, and Satyavati, and all that stuff, this whole story. I don't know the story of it. But he took 3 commitments, 3 vows, which literally made the Mahabharat what it was today. It starts off with that. First one was he renounced the throne. That was a commitment. He says, okay, I give up the throne. Don't worry. Then he said, I will be lifelong brahmachari, celibacy. And the third was he promised his loyalty to the throne. So there's huge sacrifices for any person to make.
Okay.
To publicly renounce all these things was massive. And he stuck to it throughout till the end. But that also has consequences. So while Bhishma is one of the tallest of characters in the entire Mahabharata, he had some major failures.
Okay.
And the biggest failure I could think of for Bhishma is he lacked what is called as courage of conviction. Courage of conviction means nothing else but being willing to stand up. If you are saying something wrong happening, will you stand up or will you say, oh, I cannot do that? That's where Bhishma failed. Now, Bhishma knew that Adharma was spreading, that there was a lot of unethical things happening in the kingdom. He knew that. He knew that Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan are not a great character and they are very self-centered.
Right.
They were not financially corrupt, but they were emotionally corrupt. Okay, both these people. He knew that Draupadi Vastaharan was a wrong thing happening against all ethical and moral values that are there. So he knew that Duryodhan was morally and ethically corrupt. Now, even before the war, at that time, Krishna urged intervention. Krishna said, come on, stop this war. Let's not have this war. Why are you? What do the Pandavas want? They want 5 villages. Give it to them. What happens to Hastinapur? Nothing. But that ego came in the middle of Duryodhan and Dhritarashtra. Bhishma knew that was wrong. He did not stand up and take a stand. That was his biggest leadership failure. In these two. There are others also, but these two. Okay, if you feel that nobody is listening to me, suppose Bhishma tried to convince Duryodhan and say, okay, look, Duryodhan, this is wrong, let's not fight. And suppose Duryodhan says, no, I am going to go ahead. The least he could have done was he could have said, okay, I will not fight. I will step aside. You fight if you want to listen to me. But he commanded the Kaurav army for 10 days. He was the commander-in-chief. So while commitment of Bhishma is a massive strength and all of us must have commitment. We must stand up to our principles, absolutely. But blind commitment is dangerous. Commitment without ethical reviews becomes bondage. Ethicals means the collective good of society. What does society say? Today it could be legal also. So legal and ethical. If something is against ethical and legal principles of society, You cannot just say, I have committed, therefore I am even if it is wrong, I am going to do it. Not acceptable. Bhishma lacked that. In modern parallel, I could say in today's world, you can say, if you are in an organization and there's a lot of toxic systems around, things are not going as how it's supposed to be, they're doing immoral stuff or other unethical stuff. May not be immoral, but unethical, not for the good of society. Will you stand up and say this is wrong? Or will you simply say, no, my boss has said it, therefore that is how it should be. How can I say to my boss that this is not correct? That's failure. Pure leadership failure. So protecting the power over your purpose. So purpose, what is the purpose of life becomes? If that is powerful, you can take many inconvenient decisions.
Right.
But if your purpose itself is shaky, you don't know what the purpose is, then you will take situations and say, how could I go against my boss? I can't say no to my boss. Am I wrong? No, because boss will fire me.
Correct.
Hey, but there are people who will stand up to the boss also and tell the boss. Why they do that? Because their purpose is far higher than the particular situation that runs it.
It's not blind commitment.
Blind commitment is very dangerous. Loyalty and blind commitment, two things became the downfall of Vishnu. Loyalty means unquestioning. Blind loyalty. I mean, I always give this example in my programs also. लॉयल कौन होता है? हिंदी में उसका है वफादार, तो कुत्ता होता है वफादार. कुत्ता पूछता नहीं है क्या ये मेरा भाई है, इसके ऊपर कैसे भौंकूं मैं? अगर मालिक ने बोला bite it, the dog will go and bite. It will not question, yeah, this is my friend, how can I bite my friend? That is the problem with loyalty. So we can have a full session on loyalty itself. But so let me give you one sort of, I would say, leadership question. Should loyalty be to people, to process, or to the purpose? So if you have ever come up with a situation where you have to say, I have to go with my people, do I go with my process, or the purpose? So I would say purpose is the highest.
I agree with you. I was going to give the same answer. The way you explained it, it is without question. So also when there is a moment where it tests, you have to go back to your purpose and then find the answer.
So when the moment comes, and moments will come, in your organization, in your home maybe, in your society maybe, will you speak up or will you stay silent? See, Bhishma was not evil. He was in no way incompetent. He was highly competent as leader. But when leadership demanded moral courage to stand up, he chose comfort of his commitment over conviction of standing up and telling Duryodhan and Duryodhan and Dhritarashtra, this is what you're doing is wrong. Listen to me. Don't do it. Sorry, Bhishma failed, and therefore history judges him not just for the vows that he took, but for the injustice that he failed to stop.
He never could have stopped.
He could have stopped the war. He had full moral authority to stop the war from happening.
Right.
Then he said,
Which is the next character case study that we want to do?
okay. Another one which we can look at is again a very amazing character, one of the central characters in this entire epic, entire story. By no means a small character, been there for a long time in the various stories. And this person, born with exceptional talent, raised without privilege. I mean, and he faced repeated rejection. Society did not give him the credit that was due to him. Why? Because he was a Sarathi's son. So his class became always started to go against him.
Okay.
This gentleman rose purely through grit, determination, and resilience. He is a strong character by all sense. It was known that, I mean, when you say that he was a Surya Putra, Kunti's eldest son, he was born with an armor, with a golden armor, etc. So that means, since birth it was recognized that this guy is exceptional. And he was. Many say he was probably a better archer, a better fighter than even Arjun.
Right.
So his rivalry was against Arjun in the entire most of the thing. He had amazing leadership strengths. He was exceptionally competent. Like I said, probably better than Arjun, many say.
So,
Extremely generous to a fault. So much so that, just before the war, when Indra comes to him saying that, I want your Kavacha Kundal.
in
He
disguise.
knew, in disguise, as a Brahmin he came, and he says, okay, I cannot say no. Knowing fully well that if he gives his Kavach, which is armor, he is naked sort of thing against the war. He
Right.
gave it. Knowing that without it I am at risk of death sort of thing. But he gave it away saying he was so generous to a fault. Extremely loyal, blind loyalty, amazing grit. So there was no flaws technically in his character at all. But
I'm
again,
sure you have all understood we are talking about Karna.
absolutely,
Yes.
very about Karna.
When you talk about Kavach Kundal and generosity, it's always king. Yes. What do we learn from this character who's seen a lot through his life, and because of his commitment, he's also seen the other part of things. So it's very confusing to judge.
Yeah.
So what can we
So
learn?
Karna, like I said, he had amazing traits, amazing characters, leadership and fighter, competence, and any organization will die to have a Karna amongst them. I mean, he's a go-getter. He never backs out from fights. He's always ready to take out his sword and fight or one another and fight. So there's never Karna showed lack of fighting abilities, or because any organization will want such people in there, go-getters. But his biggest leadership failure was his judgment was very clouded. Everything became gratitude towards one central character, that is Duryodhana.
Right.
And his blind loyalty to Duryodhana became Karna's downfall. Even when Draupadi Vastran happened, Karna egged on the Kauravas, Duryodhana, saying, no, this is what you should do. Probably had Kaurav not instigated Duryodhana, maybe the story would take a different turn. But Karna is known to have instigated Duryodhana throughout the Draupadi's humiliation. He said, don't step back now, this is what you must do, and that was wrong. Even when Krishna and Kunti both go to him before the war, saying, they tell Karna, they disclose to Karna that, look, you are the eldest of the Pandavas, and I will tell Yudhishthira to step down, and he will give you the throne. You will rule. So they try to appeal to his sense of goodness, saying, look, it is not worth fighting this war.
Correct.
Lots of people will die, lots of people, काफी लोग विधवा हो जाएंगे, औरतें विधवा हो जाएंगी, बच्चे अनाथ हो जाएंगे. Why do you want to fight this war? What do the Pandavas want? 5 villages? Tell Duryodhana to give to them. Let's not have this war. But Karna refused, knowing that he's on the wrong side of whatever. He did not relent, and he's stuck with. The problem was again with his purpose and values. Two things. So when you analyze all these characters, you'll find these two things constantly keep coming. What is your purpose? If his purpose was eternal gratitude towards Duryodhana, even if Duryodhana was doing absolutely corrupt stuff, emotionally corrupt stuff, absolutely on the path of destruction, he did not stop. Both both Bhishma and Karna, if they had told Duryodhana things stop, or at least we will not fight, maybe the war may not have happened, or at least so many kings and princes, they came with their armies to fight, they joined Kaurav. The Kaurav army was a bigger army. They probably may not have joined. But these two characters which are so tall, since they did not stand up to Duryodhana, they also failed. And that became a big problem later on. And as a result, it became...
We see blind loyalty as a trait here.
Absolutely. So people are highly talented. Both Bhishma highly talented, Karna highly talented.
Right.
But without a powerful purpose, higher purpose, that becomes dangerous. Loyalty without strong value system is destructive. So short-term growth at the cost of ethics is long-term regret. And Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra were ethically wrong. They knew that also. It was the ego that they were holding on to, and their ego was now driving them to the war. And yes, Bhishma would have realized that. He would have stepped back. And war would have taken a different turn altogether.
Very interesting narrative of events, sir. So there is another huge, humongous character who's the central character, as you clearly mentioned, who's there from both sides. Krishna. What can we learn from Krishna's character in as a leader or as some values that we can take over? What are those from Krishna?
So Krishna in the Mahabharat is not given any divine powers as such.
Okay.
He is a normal human being. But he was highly exceptionally talented.
Hmm.
I mean, if you look at his story, at age 11, he killed Kamsa. He was 11 years of age, and he was a brilliant person. Didn't become the king, or he put Ugrasen on the thing, and he came back to Mathura. There, they realized that this guy is highly exceptional. So they sent him to Sandipani Ashram for further studies, and he was a brilliant student. He was he got double degrees over there. So by the time he was, I think, 17, 18, he had done everything that was to be learned. And Sandipani Rishi now gave him his Dakshina and Guru Dakshina. I'm not getting into that. But Krishna in the Mahabharata never fought.
Okay.
In fact, he lost to Jarasandha 17 times. And does a leader lose 17 times to anybody? I mean, if you lose once, you feel humiliated. I lost. He lost 17 times, and he had to literally, in fact, he's called as Ranchod Das. But he ran away from the battle, and therefore they had to go and settle in Dwarka, in Gujarat, because he said Jarasandha is too powerful. I cannot defeat him. So he was a normal human being, but exceptional. Krishna was never king. He was never a king. He never sought authority, but he shaped entire outcomes of various things. He was a leader without any formal title. His superpowers lay in his super emotional intelligence. He had strategic brilliance and strategic clarity. He could think 10 steps ahead. That was Krishna's biggest strength, and he had no egos. So if you notice, his life was always of ups and downs. It was never that I have become now super powerful, therefore let me lead a life of me. From there he went down. He was absolutely willing to face humiliation, and he was always on both the sides. His influence outlasted authority. He had no formal authority at all. And his leadership is clearly about direction. The purpose of what he is meant for, to ensure that everybody, that dharma should prevail. Even though sometimes he was doing wrong. I mean, Gita happened because of that. I mean, on the eve of the battle, Arjun lays down his arms and says, I cannot fight my own kith and kin, my own family, I'd rather give up everything. मैं संन्यास देता हूँ, मुझे जाने दो, मुझे ये सब नहीं करना है. And Krishna, see, normally if you're a leader, you try to motivate him. No, you can do it, yeah, come on, that's your life, you should. He doesn't do that. What he does is, he tells in the entire Gita is a conversation of questions. And Krishna is the one who's asking questions to Arjun. If this is the situation, what will you do? Krishna elevates Arjun from a situation of complete paralysis. Because Arjun has to take a decision, make a choice. That choice is to make a decision and then take action to fight the entire war. How do you take that choice and still say, okay, I will fight? Is he takes him step by step he doesn't tell him. He asks him to introspect and takes him to a higher purpose of life. Your purpose of life is dharma. Okay, that's your duty towards the society. And if somebody, whether it's your own kith and kin, if they are against that society, then your duty as a Kshatriya is to stand up. Courage of conviction, which Bhishma did not. And then, after all the Gita, okay, not going to go to that, can be much separate podcast in itself, Arjuna stands up and takes the arm. So, timing. So, he was among the most powerful leaders and did not hold any titles. So, the question comes, because we don't have too much time to go regard every character. Every character has got such interesting thing. What can we glean from these characters? Okay, what can we take away? That becomes the next stage.
So very interesting parallel that I would like to draw from the character study of Krishna, because I know what you do. Leading to the purpose is what you took, and how you explain that he asked questions to bring Arjun to that purpose, and then take those decisions. So he actually got him not to motivate him, but he got him into the journey of finding those answers on his own. Is it that exactly what transformation is?
Absolutely. Transformation is about asking yourself this question, myself that question. Why do I even exist? What is my purpose of life? I'm sure many of us, all if not all of us, have thought about this somewhere. Like, यार मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ? Is my life about सुबह उठो, काम पे जाओ, थक जाओ, घर जाओ, सो जाओ. Next day फिर उठो, काम पे जाओ, थक जाओ, घर जाओ, सो जाओ. Next day फिर उठो, काम पे जाओ, थक जाओ, घर जाओ, सो जाओ. Then just keep piecing and piecing, piecing and piecing. Is that my life all about? Then you're transactional. So when you, so I cannot give you an outright answer. What should a person's purpose be? But we have to ask ourselves. So purpose is more than just a goal.
Right.
Okay. We think our goals are our purpose. That's one element of it. See, purpose is something which has got immense power. So sometimes if you're a student, I want to pass my exams. That's just a goal. And you say, okay, after that I want to do these 2-3 things. Again, those are only goals. When you go higher than that, my whole purpose of it is, if I've come here in life, then what am I supposed to do? That is betterment of mankind. I want to care for the universe, the larger order that is there. If that becomes my overall driving force, the decisions that I take, the consequence will be far tougher and higher than just mundane routine decisions. So I can say that there's something which is my sort of, again from the Mahabharat reading, as it just struck me one day in the middle of the night. Okay. I said, how can we put this out? All this fantastic, lovely story over there. It's a class is there. So I designed something called as the purpose power pyramid.
Okay, very interesting.
Okay. So the purpose power pyramid is you analyze yourself, whatever your decision that you take, the action that you take, how do they fit in? What is the thought process behind those decisions? If it is just a simple goal oriented, I want to become an engineer, I want to become an MBA, I want to pass my exams, then it's a very short term.
Correct.
It's a very short term purpose, very transactional. Because once you achieve that goal,
right,
that's over. Well, what next? You start saying, ab main kya karu, that's
feeling
lost. Everything gets consumed by what do I do next.
Okay.
I would say level 2 is again still transactional. Achievement and again self-serving. Again, but you might have long-term goals now. So not just pass my exam, not just become an engineer, but I want to become a CEO of a company.
Okay.
That's long-term. You can become CEO in 20 years, 30 years. Okay, it's a long journey. It will fuel your ambition. But the moment difficult choices come, that will collapse.
Okay.
So just saying I want to be many times you say, okay, you can do it. Yes, why can't you become the CEO of your company in 20 years, 10 years? Okay, it's a tough goal, absolutely very tough. A lot of hard work required, a lot of things are required, but it's still transactional. Moment tough choices come, that will happen. A level 3, now it becomes transformational. Okay, is how can I contribute to society? What is my contribution? Now this could be betterment of mankind, it could be, that whole universe should be better. Because this now builds your resilience and trust. This starts to develop now, it's not just mere transactional. This probably justifies sacrifice, because sacrifice is very much required in our lives. And the fourth one is the biggest one, that is transformation, is stewardship, which means I'm born in this massive universe. So, some they say some 14 billion years old, and we are one tiny speck in that massive universe. Is this one small? There's a galaxy also is very small.
Right.
In that massive galaxy, which looks small, is one small Earth. In that Earth, there are some 8-9 billion people. उसमें से एक मैं बंदा हूँ यार, क्या कर रहा हूँ मैं? What is mine? And if you think you can figure that out, then there is absolutely universal purposes. I would call that Krishna level clarity. It is so powerful to have that sort of thing. So simple test.
How do we understand or how do we go from level 1 to 4?
Okay, some simple questions one can ask yourself. One can see if my title gets taken away. Okay, so whatever my title is, does my overall purpose survive? So ask yourself. Okay, today I am, let's say, a manager in so and so company. Tomorrow I am not a manager. Does my bigger purpose of life still stay intact? Or do I give up? That's the first test. If my goals fail, does my purpose still guide me? If success can compromise, does my purpose stop me? If my purpose is betterment of mankind and I come to a situation where I have to take some short-term decisions which seem unethical, does that overall purpose say, Girish, careful boss, abhi tu gazar kar raha hai? If that is when purpose tells you that, that could be so. The higher the purpose, stronger the answer.
So, what values that are required to which go along with the purpose? What are those values?
Yeah. So, okay, the purpose is a big picture. Okay, it's bigger the larger picture, stronger the purpose, stronger the decision I can take. But the filter in the middle is the value system. What values do I cherish? And the simple values, nothing very complicated. The first one is commitment. Bhishma Pratigya.
Okay.
How much can you give to yourself? The problem with Bhishma was he did not evaluate his commitment with the how the whole thing is going, the war is going. I mean, you are committed to a evil guy. That's not a commitment. Okay, is the ethics in place? So commitment, integrity, honesty. Now, a terrorist also is highly committed. He has integrity to his cause and purpose.
Okay.
Absolutely. So you cannot point a finger at a terrorist for his level of commitment, for his integrity with his purpose. The problem comes is it ethical? When you say ethical, is the society, collective, structured roles, codes, consequences, legalities that have been bound together in the society. That is ethics. A terrorist fails that test. Nobody can point a finger at commitment to a terrorist, integrity to his cause, highest, but ethical. That's the question mark. Then comes morals. That is the individual purpose. It's very subjective, but your conscience and if your purpose is very high, your morality will be very high. If your purpose is not there, then you will not have morals also. This is right for me. And after all this, with all this will develop a trust. In all this, the final one that you need, again, which Bhishma lacked, is courage of conviction. When you see something going wrong in your organization or anywhere in society, will you stand up? Will you speak up? Will you take a stand? If your purpose is high, the probability that you will stand up and raise a voice against what is happening will be very high. If your purpose is not that high, and if you're purely transactional, you say, so what can I do now? What is my role in this? And that becomes so high purpose. Bhishma's commitment was without any conscience.
Correct.
Another example with Drona. Exceptional skills, great teacher, but lacked ethics. I mean, again, the instance of Ekalavya, Abhimanyu, the Chakravyuha. Now, in the Chakravyuha, the rules said you have 1-to-1 fights.
Right.
When Abhimanyu was killed, he was not killed by one person, by one character. They ganged up against him, and that was by the instigation of Drona. So Drona, his ethics were compromised by the time he reached that level. Even Yudhishthira, which is a very high level character, who was very ethical, when they had that dice game, he knew that the dice were loaded. It's not that he didn't know that Shakuni is evil. It's not that he didn't know that Shakuni is playing dirty. He knew it. But because the Kshatriya Dharma demanded that no king refuses the game of dice, he continued to play, and then the Mahabharat happened. Had he said, look, yeah, I know this is not correct,
Hmm.
probably Mahabharat would have happened only, later part of Mahabharat. That's how powerful it was.
So, your decisions are very, very important.
Absolutely. So from all this comes, so first you have the purpose, from purpose you come to your values, then every time a situation comes, with multiple situations, you will have to make your choices. In this situation, how do I act? You're a leader of a small organization, you're an entrepreneur, you're a student, you're a homemaker, you're a father, you're a mother, you're a child. In every situation, people will take different choices based on your purpose and your value system. Examples could be Arjuna's paralysis on the battlefield. The moment his purpose got clarified by Krishna, he rose up to fight the Karna was gratitude over ethics. His whole thing was like, and Shakuni, of course, we know manipulation over morality. So all these start defining your leadership roles. Because when you say values without action, that becomes just philosophy. In Bhima's case, it was enforcement of justice. He lacked that because he did not have the proper value. He was highly committed, great integrity, lacked courage of permission to stand up when ethical things were going wrong. The elders of the Mahabharat, all the Krupacharya, they were silent. Knowing fully well that what's happening is wrong, they remained silent. So consequences are inevitable. So you have a purpose, you have a value system, you will come to situations. On those situations, you will take some decision and then you will take action. So inevitable consequences follow. Krishna, peace, no regret. Draupadi was highest moral authority. Bhishma, lifelong regret. Even when he was lying on his that bed of the arrows, so he was regretful. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that, and that's all that's there. Karna was again honor and pride. Till the last, in the last, he asks Krishna, look, this is unethical. That I am down. Okay, my chariot is broken. I am down. My bow and arrow is down. And Krishna says, this is the time to kill him. Now kill him. Everything said that is wrong, but because his purpose was very high, even though it seemed unethical to kill Karna at that time, Krishna told Arjuna, now is the time to shoot him. Don't let him get up. Duryodhan and Shakuni was purely on destruction mode. Absolutely. Kunti's was acceptance.
So, what are the leadership lessons or takeaways that we can take from this? All our viewers want to know what are the leadership
So,
lessons.
final, how much time do we have now? Okay, we're coming almost to the end. So, let's start coming to wrap up.
Right.
So, all these characters, one thing that core, I would say, core leadership equation, it comes up to you must identify, think what is my purpose of life. Make it strong. With that, you get strong values.
Right.
So we told the value system, right? Commitment, integrity, honesty, trust, that leads to trust, ethics, morals, courage of conviction. Then, whenever you get situations in front, you require to take decisions.
Correct.
The probability that your decisions will be right, the choices that they will be right, is far higher now than otherwise.
Right.
With this, you take decisive action.
Correct.
That will lead to sustainable consequences. And this is what I would say the essence of the entire big literature of Mahabharata. If you do it reverse, celebrate first, go the other way around, that will only lead to various problems that might lead to regret later on. So get your purpose clarified, get your values clarified, you will find it takes off very easily.
I'm surprised because I have not been explained this in such clarity earlier, and how you have broken it down for relevance even today is so important. But I want to take this opportunity and say, when you mentioned all the character traits and the case studies that you presented, the one that comes closest is Krishna to what you do. Because you work in the field of transformation, you take them to make their purpose or give clarity on purpose. And that's how things will follow. So I really want to know, am I right on this?
Okay. I do try my level best to teach this in my leadership programs or in organizations, students also. How do you put this into daily practice? So, there is a beautiful leadership in a decision matrix that we can put this whole thing under. So, okay, we just try to do a quick this over here. There is something called as there is you can either act based on your principles or you could act on based on consideration. That means you're more about principles, the values that you have set for yourself.
Right.
And other the y-axis you can put the consideration.
Okay.
X-axis, consideration.
Right.
I mean, you always think more about the other person. So, you can be either just a win, that means I must win at all cost. I am not interested in what happens to the other person. Or it could be win-lose. I must win, the other person must lose.
Right.
But sometimes in life we have to work in that manner also. I must win and the other person has to lose. For example,
Right.
if it's a war or in sports,
Right.
one team has to win, other team has to lose.
Right.
You cannot have 50-50 in that, right?
Mm.
But even in that, you have always you have some rules and regulations. There's ethics involved. In war, there's a Geneva Convention. Sometimes doesn't get followed. In sports, you must play ethically and you must play fair and square. You can't do cheating. So that is, but one team has to win. On the other extreme could be I'm more interested in the other person and I don't mind if I lose also. That means I'm more considerate of the other person. I'm not about my own personal safety, I'm not really so much. But sometimes in life we have to operate in that manner also. When it comes to families, relationships, in which case I don't mind losing at times. I value the relationship more than me winning. So I don't mind losing and let the other person. But sometimes, so it is being swing between these two extremes at times.
Right.
Either lose, win, win, lose, lose, win, win, lose. But life is more about being in the center. It's more about being a win-win. And when you say win-win, that means, do I take actions? Is my purpose about personal glory, about my family? Or is my purpose in the other extreme, which is in mankind-oriented, environment-oriented, for the greater good of mankind, greater good of the universe? Depending on these, I probably will take the decision. So, if you look at Krishna, he was in the win-win quadrant. His picture was a bigger picture of life, not small things. On the other hand, if you look at Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Shakuni, typically the Kauravas probably will go to the win or the win-lose category. And so that matrix sometimes is of help to us in taking on various roles. So
what I want to know is if you have any examples of people who have done these in the current times, so that we can relate more to this.
Umpteen examples.
Okay.
And some examples in every field examples. If you look at business oriented stuff, the biggest examples I can give you is one is you heard of Satyam Computers, right? Ramlinga Raju. At that time, I think when the whole thing unfolded, there was 50,000 or more people on his rolls. He was an icon.
Right.
He was his company was regarded as one of the best companies audited, and I mean there were a lot of laurels and wow, great guy. One day took him for it to collapse. Why? Because he was a cheat. And that was because his purpose was not really defined. So he started cheating slowly, small. And in his own word, he said it was impossible to get off the tiger. And he acknowledged one day and whole collapsed. Another one I can relate to is Rajat Gupta. Rajat Gupta was the, I think, managing director of that level of Goldman Sachs. Massive company, one of the biggest in the world. And he went into jail for insider trading. I mean, at that level, he didn't do insider trading. Come on, his salary must have been, I don't know, 50 crores, 100 crores in a year, somewhere at that level. I mean, insider trading for what? To earn a couple of more money, a few more bucks. I mean, defeats all this.
It goes back to purpose.
And in politics, you have, in religion, you have things like Asaram Babu, and you have people like, who's that guy who's on parole now? Gurmeet Ram, right? And come on, you've got a huge follower who look up to you, but your purpose is thoda wonky, therefore now you're in jail for so many things. There's Richard Nixon, there is, who's that governor who was there? Tripathi. Tripathi, right? Yeah, okay. So there are many examples. Yeah, there are many examples I can there.
Okay. So how do people actually fix this, or why does this matter to us even today?
So what happens is most people try to fix is the decision that मैंने कौन सा decision लिया वो गलत decision लिया but try to fix that and get on it because based on that decision is the action and the outcomes. Mahabharat teaches you first fix the purpose, fix your values.
Right.
Everything else becomes simple. Again, example is Arjun, biggest example.
Correct.
Okay, Krishna fixed his purpose. He ready for battle and he will kill Karna in the last days.
Right.
On 18th day, he killed Karna. Why? Because his purpose was once. Otherwise, he was paralyzed by thinking, "मैं क्या करूँ?" So always think: Is my purpose big enough, large enough? Which values I will not compromise upon? You have to get that right. Otherwise, you will take decisions. Kabhi haan, kabhi na, gaya ram, all that you will start doing. You will all short-term decisions take. So when the situation comes, will I act on my purpose and values, or will I try to rationalize on
Why it is right or why it is wrong?
Yes.
And the biggest example which you said people try to fix decisions is exactly what Ramalingam Raju did. Try to fix what he had done with the decisions and going ahead. But amazing example, sir. So what are your closing thoughts on this?
Third, leadership is not defined by ambition alone. Ambition is a driving force for leadership, fair enough. But leadership gets defined by your alignment with your purpose. Between what you believe for the greater good, based on that, your values, what do you choose? Once you choose, what actions you take. So a simple nutshell is purpose, values, that leads to choices, the decisions that you take, the actions that follow, and the consequences that take place. So that is what my understanding of was the entire 1 lakh strokes of Mahabharat, without getting into every character and trying to find out reason. So again, sometimes people ask me also, okay, so what should I do now? So I mean, nothing direct to Mahabharat, but one of the things that was that he says, who's that? Ramdan Rao say was the founder of Aap Satyajit is
Okay, you are talking about Anna, right?
Anna Hazare. You just slip my mind. You know, brain
Great.
freeze. Brain freeze. Anna Hazare's statement, I remember relatively. In Marathi, he says, "Vayaktik apman patswaya shika." That means learn to digest personal insults. Okay. Vayaktik apman patswaya shika. Learn to digest personal insults. Samajik anyay patswaya nahi. That means if it is societal injustice happening, you will stand up and fight. That is his amazing mantra. Another one which I realized was from him only. He says ki whenever you are confronted, now forget all this purpose, ambition, or sounds very simple thing. If whenever you are faced with a choice, to make a decision in life, ask yourself this question: if I take this action, will my mother be proud of me?
Right.
Because 90% you will get answers to that. कि भाई मैं कर रहा हूँ, सही कर रहा हूँ, गलत कर रहा हूँ. Because if that doesn't still leave you with a doubt, ask yourself: if my children see me doing this, will my children be proud of me? If the answer to that also is yes, then probably you're on the very right track. So, simplest way of finding out if the decision I'm going to take, is that a right decision or wrong decision? Because there is no one template for decision making. There are thousands and millions of situations that will keep arising in each other's lives. How will you take a decision which has long-term consequences?
You're leaving us actually with so much of thought, with clarity, but also thought-provoking. To go back. Now I am going to go back and think about the purpose, note it down again, the value that we've been raised with, the choices that we can take based on this, and I'm going to ensure that all decisions are taken because of this, and it's always in alignment, so that whatever the consequences is because of all the actions that we've taken, inevitable, but this is right. We can continue this conversation for a couple of more hours and still have 10 other questions that I can keep asking, sir. So I would request that we do such sessions more often with more topics because your research is high. The way you explain things are very logical and very easy to understand. So I'm sure that our viewers are also enjoying this conversation today. I would request you to please subscribe to this channel, to click on the bell icon so you know when the next video or when the next live is coming up. Go through Sir's YouTube and see how many videos he shared. Every single video will have something that you can take away from. So that is there. You can visit his website www.coachgirishkonkar.com and follow him on Instagram for more updates and more such sessions that can come. We will put it up there. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. I hope people viewing it, maybe either live now or even later on, as we put in the recording, I'm sure. If there are any questions that you would like, please put in the comment and we will either answer it there itself or do another session on that.
We can create some good shots also, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. God bless.
Thank you.